On the morning of Friday, May 16th, 2025, I planned to go after work to catch the Lehigh Valley 8104, which was leading 16T, reducing bowling. However, that changed when I would find out CSX X409 was coming much sooner with CSX SD70AC 45C Y3C leading with a great K5 leading. I knew I had to catch this unit, so I headed out to the Lurgan branch earlier than expected. I would be successful catching her when I caught a few other trains, including H58 with the GP38-2, 5350 foot, with a fantastic Leslie RS3L, and two other mixed freights with good rolling stock. All in all, it was a great day, and I would be successful in catching the Lehigh Valley 2 days later. Thus began part 1 of 2 days of Norfolk's Third Lurgan Bridge Madness. I hope you enjoy. The adventure began at the LG13 crossing in Brantsville, PA, as NS 274 rolled east with a large train and two AC-44 C6Ms with the Lehigh Valley K5LA, a brand new fresh Versal container, and a V6 Seaboard full Logotech, and about 1.2 miles of empty bare tables. better photo of the previously mentioned Seaboard Hopper. These are becoming increasingly uncommon to rare as they show their age. I met my staff Nick at the LG 15.5 bridge at Bransfield, PA over the Yellow Breaches. There I saw westbound intermodal 27A with the S58 AC 8032 of a great K5L shell leading a sizable train and a ton of good rolling stock, including a mug, root, rear dog, bear table. Keep an eye out for the first DPU, a unit that's quickly fading into history. At the time I recorded this video, there was a total of 243-944 CWs on the Norfolk Southern roster. Of those 243, 133 were in storage. All but one of the 110 that were active were in Horse Center HH, aka the new S scheme. Only one THBU, or Thoroughbred unit, aka the oldest scheme, was still in service. This unit number was 9747. 16 were in storage. 35 were sold in January 25 for AC44C6M rebuilding to Ferromex FX to replace the Super 7s or B23-7, C30-7R variants and SD4-2s. Another 25 were also retired January 25 for NS's usage. Norfolk Southern plans to have all the remaining Dash 9s, THB and HH alike rebuilt to AC44C6Ms by the end of 2026. The phrase "catch 'em while you can" comes to my mind as we see the final months of Dash 9Ws on the rail. About 40 minutes later, X409, the reason I headed out to the Lurgan branch, headed west of CSX SD70AC 4578 Y3C and mechanical bell of a fantastic Third Generation K5LA, leading ES44AC 863 Y3C, and a ton of good rolling stock. After M409 passed, I decided to step away from the tracks to go check out some antique stores at Carlo to kill the time until 60T arrived, which was still at the Virginia Pass. After finishing in these antique stores, I saw some stormy weather was coming and hoped for some severe thunderstorms to develop. However, all I got was rain. Soon after, I heard 16T was leaving, so I decided to head back to Lurgan, this time at LG24, where I caught 13R mixed freight heading west of an H44M and a ton of good rolling stock. After that, I headed south to catch the 16T. However, when I headed further south, I found out to my disappointment that it had timed down in Greencastle. I would catch that 5th Lehigh Valley 2 days later in 50T. On my way back, when I came across Pine Road for the final time, I saw that the signals were red. Like most signals on the Lurgan branch, the signals are always on unless something's coming. Seeing them both for red, I quickly sped up to intercept while I was coming at Blowing Springs. Turns out it was loco H58 heading west with 2 GP38s push pill. The leader 5355 still has her RS3L and set a grade as she crossed the 15.5 crossing. This is the first time I've shot the train on the road side of the crossing with the drone. Approach, I did a side view of the crossing gates flashing as I started up. After the train passes, you could see the setting sun and hear some more Leslie music. It's hard to believe it's been 25 years since Conrail became a fallen flag. Concluded a great day trackside on the Lurgan branch. Special thanks to Doug L for the heads up on the M409, MR Austin R for tracking it, my staff Nick for going along, and Mick R for the heads up on the 13R and 27A. Thanks for watching.